Fallout New Vegas was luck. Obsidian Entertainment cannot repeat this lightning in a bottle. They tried to make their own version of Fallout New Vegas, and they made The Outer Worlds, which is a woeful poor man's imitation of success. The game was safe, the game was boring, and no one in general cared. And now, they are making The Outer Worlds 2. And they are quadrupling down on literally everything people said was wrong with the Outer Worlds 1, okay? Storyline, fuck it. Here's more guns. Role-playing options. No, you can't have none of that. Okay, I'm lying. You can't have none of that. Here's an option. Do you open the door with strength, or do you use a picklock? Yes, these are great role-playing options, I know. The Outer Worlds 2, in my honest opinion, is going to be a complete disaster. The Outer Worlds 1 was already like, again, no one really cared. Okay, it wasn't the worst thing in the world, but it did not inspire. It was boring. It was bland. It was whatever. And now Obsidian has effectively lost all goodwill. Avowed came out, and that was horrible. And, well, it's made by Obsidian, so we know what to expect from the Outer Worlds too. And it's not looking good. It's really, really bad.
So before I get into the game itself, I just want to talk a little bit about Obsidian and the weird place that they're in right now. Following the release of Avowed, which kind of had a mixed reception, it's one of those...
It was not a mixed reception. People were calling it... Oh, actually... There we go, this is much better. Avowed was not a mixed reception. People did not like it. Avowed literally died in 3 days. I made multiple videos milking the absolute disappointing disaster that was Avowed. It was boring, it was bland, it was safe, there wasn't a lot of roleplay, all the options were shit, the combat was the best part of it, but everything else about Avowed was completely abysmal, okay? And that's really sad, considering Avowed, when it first was announced, I was hyped. I'm not gonna lie, I was hyped. I was singing the praises of this game, that it looks good. The fauna, the flora, the everything. Well, turns out it was a bait and switch. After the gritty, cool-looking initial trailer that we had for the game, everything else was just kind of puking rainbow style of looking game. Was not good. Not at all.
Games, if you will, where a lot of people didn't like it. Some people really liked it. I enjoyed it for what it was. It wasn't what I wanted from Avowed, but I still found the things about it that I liked outweighed the things I didn't.
God, I love these opinions that try to not be aggressive, that try to be like positive, but at the same time not too shilly. Because this is Extra Life, by the way. They are shills, if you did not know. Extra Life is one of the top shilling channels, okay? They literally kind of exist just so people from big studios can pay them money for good reviews. So this is why they're gonna have a lot of these super unoffensive Mr. Matty Plays review of Dragon Age to Veilguard type of opinions. The game's bad, but you still should buy it. The game's too short, but do you honestly want to play long games? The game's boring and dull. Oh, but I wasn't looking for a 10 out of 10 anyway. You know, these types of opinions.
Even though it wasn't exactly how I would have designed the game if I could do it myself, there's certainly flaws in it. And the Outer Worlds had a lot of the same things. Like, they were different issues, but it did have similar problems wherein it didn't live up to the expectations of Fallout in space. It was a very safe game. I guess you could use the word generic a little bit. Like, there wasn't anything super special about the game. It was an okay game. It wasn't a terrible game. It wasn't an amazing game. It was somewhere in the middle. So they put out 2 decent RPGs in these titles, but nothing really mind-blowing. They haven't put out a really good RPG in a long time at this point. You know, harking back to the days of Fallout New Vegas and Neverwinter Nights 2, we're all kind of reminiscing about that, and we know that Obsidian can create these titles, but we're waiting to see that from them again, and the Outer Worlds 2 is an opportunity to prove that they can still make games of that caliber. That being said, the second game promises to deliver a much larger scale of a game than the first one. I do think, you know, despite the criticisms of the Outer Worlds, the first game was mostly successful, and that's why we have a second game. So hopefully
It was successful, but people expected better. This is the situation where all your goodwill has been wasted at this point. That's the reality of it. It Avowed already honestly proves it, okay? If we look at the Steam DB for the Outer Worlds 1, it has so many times more maximum players than Avowed. And keep in mind, the Outer Worlds 1 came out on Steam like 5 years or something, 3 or 5 years later than its official release. So, that still had more players than Avowed. And no one wanted to play Avowed after we started seeing more gameplay footage, more everything. Because, well, I mean, because Avowed looks like this, okay? It's just bright colors, it's fucking goofy looking shit, and, you know, a lot of DEI. That's it. Women that look like men at the best days, and, you know, we're not even going to talk about the worst days.
That scale and, you know, taking the feedback that they got from the first game results in a much larger and more interesting Outer Worlds 2. So getting into the game itself, the story of the Outer Worlds 2 will be set...
Also, this is a blatant lie. Because we watched the Outer Worlds 2 gameplay footage that was provided. That you can find on YouTube. We watched it, and the developers literally said nothing about roleplay, nothing about story, nothing about anything, except here's a gun that levels with you and it shoots confetti when it does. Here's a gun that gives people cancer. Wow, here's a gun that melts people. Wow. Yeah, again, not a single criticism of the Outer Worlds 1 has been taken to heart with the Outer Worlds 2.
In Arcadia, which is a distant star system colonized after the events of the first game, so it's happening after that in the timeline, where 3 factions are vying for control, and you will take on the role of the character known as the Commander.
3 ridiculously generic factions. We have capitalism bad, and then you can guess the rest.
Who is an agent of the Earth's Directorate sent to Arcadia to investigate certain happenings that are going on there. You can expect more of the satirical humor, similar to the first game, with a dystopian sci-fi future where corporations have taken over, offering quirky dialogues and continuations of the themes of the first title.
We saw the dialogue. It was horrendous. By the way, I had some mouth breathers, by the way, comment, how dare you say that the dialogue is bad? Bro, when I click on a dialogue option that's supposed to give me a list of bad things to say against someone who just said something to me, and none of those things are the things that I would pick, it's either I'm a completely 0.001% of the population, I'm insane, which may be true to some extent, the insane part at least, or the dialogue is shit, okay? I'm a pretty average person in a lot of respects, okay? My wants, my needs for these games are not extraordinary, and they're not slop, okay? And if I see a whole bunch of dialogue options and none of those options seem even remotely like anything that I want to respond with, I instantaneously think that the writers are complete idiots. That's where I go.
In the Outer Worlds 2, there will be 3 different factions, one of which is the Protectorate, which is your military faction. There is the Order of the Ascendant, which is your religious faction, and then Auntie's Choice, which is the shady corporate faction. These 3 factions will be competing for each other for control of the Arcadia system, and obviously there are rifts between these factions, and you'll have to navigate those as you play the game. One of the things that Obsidian is promising this time around is more reactive quests to player decisions, both in terms of the major storylines and the companion storylines, and of course the game will have multiple endings as well. So this will be something to see if they actually can deliver on that. I think one of the major issues with gaming these days is it's less reactive than players want. I think this is why Baldur's Gate 3 and Larian has seen so much success. They have made extremely reactive games where players have a lot of agency and freedom. If Obsidian can crank this...
Stupid Larian Studios with their Baldur's Gate 3, it just has too many options. It's just a game too well made, so it's bad. Okay? Other games cannot actually try to be good. So don't expect this from the Outer Worlds to shut the fuck up.
Up and allow for more player agency and impact in their decisions, I think that will go a long way to making The Outer Worlds 2 a much better title than the first game. So one of the things that they showed during Developer Direct was parts of character creation. They didn't show the actual appearance, whether you can make your character look.
I know all of this. This is so bad. Okay? It's just this. Most of these choices are 5% more damage. Wow. Yeah. Some of these and the negative things are just super bad, and no one wants to play. It's just bad. Okay.
Exactly how you want, but they did show some of the customization choices that you can make during character customization. Like you can still pick backgrounds. You'll have some perks to pick from. In the first game, there were a lot of things you could choose at the beginning of the game, so it seems like we'll still have that going on. And
yeah, like look at this. These are the choices, like right. Heroic. Others tend to naturally follow and look up to you. Minus 20% companion ability charge time. What great gameplay. What amazing. Okay, look at this. Look at this. Look at this. 5% crit chance. Holy moly! Wow. Wow, I want such amazing choices in my games. Holy shit, Diablo 4. Oh wait, this is Diablo 4 here.
There is a flaw system returning from the first game as well. This is not something I messed around with a ton because simply, a lot of times flaws are just terrible to have on your character. But I can see people like really enjoying playing silly playthroughs with some of these flaws.
Yeah. This is the response you can have.
Like on Twitch or something like that. They showed off the fan favorite dumb flaw, which allows you to choose dumb options during dialogue, which results in some hilarious things happening. So if you like that...
Oh, wait. Was that not the full thing? Was that not the full thing? Oh god, I hate YouTube, this thing. Allow me to introduce myself. I am DB Milvert Street? A Minister of Marketing, Duke of No One Cares, Commercial Condottieri? I have no idea if that's a real word. President of No One Cares. Tell me, do you believe in signs? You mean like the ones that say a trespassing and no entry? Sure don't. Beautiful. What dialogue options we have here?
Some of these flaws, particularly like on Twitch.
And these are supposed to be like the dumb responses or something like that people were trying to tell me. And
particularly like...
Again, I mean just pause my video, right?
Some of these flaws.
I believe everything happens for a reason. That's the first one, right? Thank you, YouTube, for ruining this.
Particularly
you're trying to sell me something. None of these are things I would ever respond. None of these options are anything I would ever even remotely come close in a situation like this to respond to this absolute loser. And again, I'm not some kind of out of this world weirdo when it comes to dialogue choices, and I'm average. I'm just like you probably, but worse because I'm an idiot. But that's YouTube for some stupid reason. Okay? If I don't want to pick any of these, this is just horrible dialogue. There is no situation in Baldur's Gate 3 where you can be where you are in a situation where one of the dialogue options does not speak to you. It doesn't exist, okay? In Baldur's Gate, there is always an option that you want to answer with. Here, you have a bunch of options and they're like, this is shit, I guess I'll pick the least stupid answer, but I don't want to even say this. I mean, again, this game is going to be a horrible.
They showed off the fan favorite dumb flaw, which allows you to choose dumb options during dialogue, which results in some hilarious things happening. So if you like that in the first game, that's returning. They also showed off a flaw of bad knees, where you make a large popping sound when you stand up after being crouched, which alerts everyone to your presence, which is obviously terrible for a stealth character if you're trying to play, or kleptomaniac, or sometimes when you're looking at things, you just steal them. So if you like go shopping in a shop.
Yeah, no one's picking any of these bad trades because no, they existed in the first game. No one wants them. No one likes them. And here they're even stupider and worse.
You can accidentally steal things unintentionally. Seems very interesting. I don't know how many people are going to be taking these flaws in practicality, but I still like the option there. Sometimes just having these options makes a game better. One of the things that's really interesting is these different skills, perks, and flaws will allow players to tackle different problems in multiple...
Bro, yeah, this is everything I said at the start of the video, by the way. Again, this is your role play. These are your role-playing elements and options. Look at this.
Perks and flaws will allow...
Yeah, you have the choice. Do you want to open
One
the
of the things that's
door?
really interesting is...
Do you want to open the door with your arms because you're a strong woman that needs no man? Or do you want to... Do you want to engineer the door and make it open? Like, these are your role-play options. This is what they refer to as role-play.
These different skills, perks, and flaws will allow players to tackle different problems in multiple ways, as they showed in the video. In one of the scenes, you can see how he's able to get through a jammed door by different means, depending on the perk that he has. And even though this is a subtle change, if these subtle changes are all over the game, it can definitely make an experience much better. Besides tackling obstacles, skills and perks will allow you to have a combat playstyle similar to what you would want. So if you want to be like on a full assault type build, you can, or be that stealthy assassin that stylingly takes down enemies, you can. The game will offer a variety of ways to mix and match.
The only thing that I'm actually kind of excited about this is the fact that this could be a good stealth game. Not that anyone cares about that, honestly, but I love stealth.
Perks to create unique playstyles, just like the first game. There were at least like half a dozen playstyles in the first game, which I thought were interesting. I hope that there are more in this game because it will add to the longevity of the game itself, but we'll have to see like what sort of combinations you can come up with. Also in the gameplay, they showcased a mission called The Bridge that was tackled in multiple ways by the player, ranging from going in guns blazing, sneaking...
Yes, this is probably the biggest thing that they showed, and this is probably going to be the only location where you actually have like 3 ways or 4 ways to tackle with the problem. It's just... There's a reason they only showed one thing. Because only one thing actually has options in the game. Keep in mind, this game is pretty much finished already. And when you're trying to promote your already effectively finished product, and, well, the only thing that you can speak about with roleplay options is this, not looking good.
Underneath the bridge and just finding a different way by jumping across the gap and bypassing the bridge altogether. So there are some possibilities in terms of solving problems in this game, but we'll just have to see how that extends throughout the whole game. Is this just going to be a few missions that have things like this, or is it going to be across the broader...
This is going to be literally just one place where you even have an option like this.
Game as a whole. Something else that I find fantastic and is good news is that science weapons will be returning. These are like quirky weapons that the game had that were generally overpowered and really fun to play with. For instance, the shrink ray will make a return, so you can shrink enemies and turn them into little things. And this time around, you can actually step on them and crush them after you shrink them, which is pretty cool. And there will be undoubtedly new science weapons added to the game, so I can't wait to see what these are. It's a very creative outlet that Obsidian has in this game. And there's also going to be science armor. It's like a living armor that attacks enemies nearby. And I wonder like how many varieties of these we'll see in the game. So that should mix things up a little bit from a combat perspective as well. One of the more common criticisms of the Outer Worlds 1 is that the gunplay was not the greatest. I totally agree with this assessment. It was okay.
No one gave a shit about the gunplay. I mean, they're literally pulling a Pirate Software here. They are trying to say, oh, we addressed the issue that players didn't like. Bro, no one talks about the gunplay. Literally. Go find any review, anything of the Outer Worlds 1 where people are talking about it, and the gunplay is not going to be in the top 10 things that should be changed, okay? Sure, you can make it better, but it's not going to be a thing that people actually care about.
But it wasn't amazing, and supposedly they've been working on this, trying to improve it. If you look at the gameplay, the gunplay looks a little better in my estimation. It's less floaty, it's more clunky and weighty, which seems great. Tactical time dilation makes a return, so you can slow time down and shoot enemy weak points. Kind of like the VAT system, but obviously not. So we'll have to see how this is as a whole. Like, I don't know how this is. I'm hoping, again, we'll get more clarity of this at Gamescom. But I'm hoping that the gunplay is improved.
It's leveling
from the first
up
time. It wasn't
with
bad,
you.
but again, it wasn't great. Although they didn't mention any specifics regarding the size of explorable maps in Outer Worlds 2, we will be getting at least 3 cities that are related to the 3 factions, so 1 for each. And we'll be getting a larger explorable space compared to the original game, which was quite small in my opinion. So hopefully that means there are more planets to explore with a lot more to do. I don't know what the size of this game is going to be because they haven't said specifically, but I'm hoping that it's at least like 50% larger or twice as big. I think that would be great. Another important aspect that we've come to expect from Obsidian RPGs is good companions, and hopefully they deliver in this regard. There were some fan favorites in the first game for sure, and during the showcase, they got to showcase some colorful ones ranging from an Earth Directorate agent to a psychopathic cultist. So it'll be interesting to see how we...
Yeah, I'm sure those companions are all going to have unique, individualistic personalities. Because I'm sure the woke writer losers that are going to be making them understand what it means to be an individual. I'm sure this is going to go well. Okay? This is going to be the same as Starfield. All your companions are like, I'm a evil pirate. But don't you dare steal shit or kill innocent people. That's where I draw the line. They're all going to be the same. They're literally all gonna be the same, probably. Oh, then they added radio. And this is like a huge point for the shills. Oh, they added the radio! This is like Fallout now! Yes, they added the radio. This is like Fallout now, thank you. A third-person mode? I guess that's cool, but who cares? The art style is just fucking... I mean, look at it.
Towards a more cartoony art style, and they're staying true to that in this one as well, with the same aesthetics are very similar.
This is literally Avowed, the art style, sadly. And it was shit. Are we gonna see the whole thing? Because, again, it's like Avowed. It's just a bunch of rainbows plumped in everywhere. A bunch of extremely over-the-top saturated colors. And that's kind of it. Okay? This is also what passes as a white character in this game, if you're wondering. Yeah, it's not looking good.
Which I don't mind. I kind of liked it. It grew on me. It wasn't my early previews of the Outer Worlds. That was something that I really harped on, but it actually grew on me after I played it, particularly the first couple of worlds. It tail well together because you're not taking it too seriously and you're not really supposed to. In terms of like the different environments you'll be seeing in the game, there seems to be a good variety of environments so far. You have like a science lab and factories and frozen tundras and alien forests. The developers mentioned a difference from the first game where it was all dystopian corporation on a frontier colony. And now they're taking an approach closer to World War I militarized.
No, this is literally Avowed. Oh my god, look at this. They didn't even use the goddamn fucking yellow paint. They literally went and did the fucking yellow tarp approach. Look at this. God, listen, we're gamers. We're not stupid. We don't need your... Look at this. We don't need you to paint this shit yellow so we know that we can jump on it. We either see it or we don't. God, I hate these people so much.
Frontier colony, and now they're taking an approach closer to World War I militarized location.
Yeah, look at this. Like, yeah, the yellow paint, it's everywhere.
So I'm interested to see how that translates.
Finding a secret? No, just look for the yellow tarps.
Into a Space Odyssey type game. That's something that's got me really curious. One of the things that I am concerned about combat.
Absolute disaster, okay? That was Extra Life. And again, The Outer Worlds 2 is an absolute disaster waiting to happen. I personally cannot wait. I don't know how many people are gonna be. I think this is gonna have, like, maybe 20k people on Steam. It's kind of hard to predict this, but I think maybe it's gonna have 20 people on Steam. It's probably gonna have... No, listen, it could be anywhere from literally 3k people to maybe 20k people. It's so hard to predict this. It's hard to say because I don't know how many actual, how many people that are left interested in the Outer Worlds 2 after 1 are, honestly. From the likes and dislikes I'm getting on, speaking about the Outer Worlds 2, it seems there are no fans because, Jesus, typically when you say, when I say bad things about the established title, it's like a 90% upvote ratio, but for the Outer Worlds too, it's usually above 80%. I mean 90%. It's above 90%, pretty hot, so there's literally probably no pushback almost ever on anything bad said about the Outer Worlds 2. So maybe this is gonna be like 5k Steam peak player base. And then we're gonna be reading comments about people saying, oh, but it's an Xbox exclusive! Shut up. Anyway, that was Fake Extra Life. 10 out of 10. Bye.